But first, to a roundup of news from RNZ's Rural News team, and Sally Murphy joins us from Ōtautahi Christchurch. And global dairy prices have continued to rise this week, Sally.
They have. The average price rose 1.7% at the Global Dairy Trade auction this week. It followed a 3.3% rise at the last one, and this is the fifth consecutive auction where prices have risen since March. Rising dairy prices has led Taupō-based milk processor Miraka to release a strong opening forecast milk price for the new season. At $8.42 a kilo of milk solids, it's a tad higher than Fonterra's opening forecast of $8.
But things are looking less rosy for dairy company Synlait.
They are. Synlait has told the Australian Stock Exchange that a significant majority of its 400 suppliers will leave the company in 2026. This follows a first half loss of $96 million announced in April and a downgraded earnings outlook. Canterbury farmer Willie Lefrink supplies milk to Synlait, and he says its advanced milk solids price has often been $1 behind Fonterra, something that must change.
They'll have to perform really well now because they burned quite a few bridges. Predicament they're in is not that nice. Not all their own fault. Some of the stuff is outside their control, like A2 not being able to supply China for a while. You know, I have a lot of sympathy for the current management because they dealt a very difficult task.
Now, pretty grim prices there for sheep farmers in Hawke's Bay.
Yes, prices for inland ewes at a recent sale dropped to their lowest level in at least a decade. Top prices were down about 66% compared to last year. PGG Wrightson's Hawke's Bay livestock manager Neil Common says auctioneers struggled to get $100 for a pregnant ewe.
So pretty tough work trying to sell Scandinavian ewes. People tending to put on more cattle where possible rather than ewes at the present.
But there's been some good progress in a new sideline for wool growers.
There has. Biotech company Keraplast, which extracts proteins from sheep wool, has opened new premises in Christchurch. Keraplast extracts naturally occurring keratin proteins from coarse wool to put into products like skin, hair and nail care, which it sells worldwide. Chief Executive Howard Moore says the existing sector's growing, with new areas for using wool-based proteins opening up.
So last year we processed almost 100 tonnes of strong wool. If that wool had been exported, it would have generated less than $500,000 in export revenue. But by converting it into keratin ingredients, last year it generated a revenue of over $10 million. So it's a great added value story for New Zealand.
And the global market is expected to be worth more than $2.5 billion by 2031.
Now, things are also coming along swimmingly for a new salmon hatchery trial.
They are. NZ King Salmon is trialling a new salmon rearing system which uses less water by recycling it. Fish welfare manager Dr. Zach Waddington says trials have shown the fish grow better and have better health outcomes in recirculating aquaculture systems like this.
With new consents, including one that we've recently gained for Blue Endeavour, which is an open ocean site. So if all things go well, then our company is looking to expand and we will need increased hatchery supply. And given the limited availability of freshwater resources, we want to make sure that we're utilizing those as efficiently as possible.
Now, sticking with fish, Hawke's Bay fishers are dealing with a prickly problem, Sally.
They are. This is an odd one. They're catching thousands of porcupine fish, otherwise known as blowfish. Fishers like Rick Birch have put it down to an odd side effect of Cyclone Gabrielle. He's been operating in Hawke's Bay since 1987 and says before the cyclone he'd catch the odd porcupine fish, but nothing like now.
In Hawke's Bay and the surrounding areas, the number of porcupine fish have increased amazingly. For example, on my last trip, which consisted of 10 trawl tows, we caught 773 kilos of porcupine fish. And this was recorded for FishServe in my catch returns.
Now, Sally, you've heard about some admin problems deer farmers have been having.
Yes, well, farmers are legally required to tag and register livestock through the National Animal Identification and Tracing System, also known as NAIT. However, Deer Industry New Zealand says some of its farmers have had issues with the software when animals they've registered show up as unregistered. Chair Mandy Bell says if incorrect data goes through to the Ministry for Primary Industries, farmers can be charged for non-compliance.
There's a disconnect in that when the inaccuracy is noted, it will be seen on the Osprey system. They will notify MPI, and MPI will then send a charge out to the farmer because an animal might be deemed to not have a tag. Actually, it has happened on farm, but the system is not recording this as it should do.
Just staying on that topic of compliance, Sally, there's good news around a levy on dairy farmers.
Yes, progress on eradicating Mycoplasma bovis from herds means the levy set up to pay for this has been reduced. There are currently no infected properties in New Zealand, so Dairy NZ is reducing the biosecurity response levy.
And lastly, a Northland school's gardening project's grown beyond their imagination.
It has. Kaio School's foray into cultivation has produced a bumper kumara crop for the children to share with their local community. Principal Paul Barker says the wider community benefits while the students learn new skills.
There were some amazingly sized kumara and some odd-shaped ones as well. Oh, well, it just fits in with our overall school ethos. We work on four main words. One is learn, one is love, one is contribute, and one is grow.
And that's the Rural News Wrap this week.
Thanks, Sally.